Okay, so let's finish this whole thing the way we started, by just being really transparent and telling the truth. You didn't build a business just to sell things. You built it to shift something. Something in you, maybe something in them, in the industry, in the way that people experience work and worth and leadership. And now, you're not just leading for yourself. You're leading in ripples. And those ripples, they touch your clients, they touch your team, your vendors, even your family. And if you've walked this entire empowerment design journey with me, first, thanks for taking the Grand Circle Tour with me. And second, those ripples are getting bigger. Step 10 is where it all converges. This isn't just about internal stability. It's about external transformation. It's where we stop thinking about the systems and start thinking about scale. Not just of your product, but of your impact. And not scale in the traditional tired sense. Not bigger is better, not volume at all costs, not some dumb framework to slap over everything. But scale of resonance, scale of depth, scale of presence, scale of legacy. Because here's the thing. The businesses that change industries, families, and futures, they're the ones that are built to outlive the person who started them. So let's unpack how that happens. When empowerment design is fully implemented, you've built more than an efficient company. You've created a structure that holds values, behavior, rhythm, and leadership, even when you're not in the room. And when that's true, my friends, everything changes. Your team doesn't wait for your approval. Your clients don't just buy, they transform. And your brand becomes a reference point for what healthy business actually looks like. Then your exit strategy, whether that's scaling out, stepping back, or even selling, becomes not just possible, it becomes powerful. And that's what we mean when we talk about ripple. Now let's get really practical. An empowered business at scale means this. Your systems protect people, not just efficiency. Your leaders replicate culture, not just compliance. Your client experience is repeatable and relational. Your identity is known inside and outside the walls, and your presence is felt without your constant involvement. But most founders never really get here. Why? Because they're still building like they'll always be in the center of everything. Even after hiring, even after documenting, even after delegating, they stay fully central, emotionally, strategically, culturally. They don't scale leadership, they scale systems, and then they call it a day. Now you know better, because you've seen what happens when leadership identity becomes cultural identity. Now that's when empowerment design really starts to take root. Let me tell you, I worked with a founder named Todd. He had a growing business, but really tight margins, and a team that leaned heavily on him. He thought that the answer was to hire a great ops manager, document his processes, and build a clearer org chart. Those all helped. It was helpful, but it didn't scale, because while the tasks were clarified, the thinking was still centralized. So when we introduced ILS and Wavemaker and ISDS and Emmy, everything shifted. His team didn't just know what to do, they began to own why they were doing it. They understood their leadership style. They knew when to push and when to pause, and they made better decisions because they had a map, not just a manual. So 3 months later, Todd stepped away 2 weeks. No texts, no meetings, no emergencies. His team didn't just hold the line, they advanced the line. Clients raved, new initiatives launched, culture actually improved. Because Todd didn't just build systems, he scaled identity. And that's the hidden truth of the ripple. You don't scale through tasks, you scale through trust. You scale when your business no longer depends on your presence to reflect your principles. You scale when the way that you lead becomes the way they lead, even without your voice ringing in their ear all the time. That's ripple. Now let's see if we can take this a little bit wider. When your leadership identity is codified inside your business through things like language, rituals, rhythms, decisions, mentoring, your clients are going to feel it. Your partners are going to feel it. Your family's going to feel it. And your community, they watch it. And over time, well, you become more. You become more than a business. You become a lighthouse. People look at how you run your company and they say things like, that's how I want mine to feel. People will start borrowing your language. It's a great Great thing to see. They reference your frameworks. They ask your team how you built what you built. And that's how empowerment design scales, not through mass production, but through deep resonance. Through businesses that operate with such grounded clarity that they can't not impact the people that they touch. Let me tell you a little bit about Kayla. She runs a small, tight agency, tiny team, local clients, not in any way what you would call industry leading. But her ripple, it's unreal. Why is that? Because every single person she hires is trained in ILS. Every project is scoped, not just for deliverables, but for decision points. And every team member is mentored weekly, not just about performance, but about personal leadership growth. Her clients love the work. But even more than that, they leave saying, your team made me believe that I could do this too. Wow. Vendors who only planned to drop off assets started asking, how can I work with you more? Her community actually nominated her for a leadership award that she never even applied for or even knew about. Because the way she runs her business is changing what people expect from leadership. That's ripple at scale. It's not about the size of the team. It's about the strength of the values. It's about the depth of the presence. It's about whether your business feels different. So here's the question that you've got to ask here at step 10. If I disappeared for 6 months, would my business still reflect my leadership? Would it still sound like me? Would it still move like me? Serve like me? Would it still echo my standards, my values, my presence, and my purpose? If the answer is no, no judgment whatsoever. But I am going to give you an invitation to finish what you started, to build a company that doesn't just exist in your absence, but expands it. Because meaningful impact never happens by accident. It doesn't come from momentum alone. It comes from the way you build and the way you design, from the intention behind every single conversation, from the clarity that you embed into every single role, and from the leadership that you pass on, not just in words, but in the way your business moves when you're not there. When empowerment design becomes more than a framework, when it becomes the very heartbeat of your company, everything begins to shift. Every meeting becomes a mirror of your standards. Every client experience becomes a reflection of your presence. And every decision your team makes without you becomes evidence of how deeply your leadership has been absorbed, not just respected, but actually internalized. And that's when the work that you've done starts to ripple without requiring you to constantly push it forward. Because now your team isn't just executing, they're extending you. Now your systems aren't just efficient, they're values aligned. Now your brand isn't just recognized, it's felt. This is when leadership moves from a role to a legacy. You stop being the operator. You stop being the hero. Take the cape off. And you stop being the last stop for every decision, correction, or confirmation. And do you know what happens instead? You become the one who created the environment where greatness could grow. Where people led with courage because they were mentored with compassion. Where trust didn't have to be earned over and over and over again. It was embedded at the very core. And where rhythm replaced chaos and rhythm became culture. This isn't about scaling in the traditional sense. Go do that somewhere else. This is about creating a business that can carry your leadership even when you're no longer at the center. Because that's what real impact looks like. It's not found in what you do next. It's found in what you've already taught others to do way after you're gone. That's how movements are built. Not from loud launches or constant reinvention, but from leaders who build with such clarity, such consistency, and such care that culture itself becomes self-sustaining. And my friends, when that happens, you don't have to be the voice in every single room, because your people have learned how to speak with the same intention. They've learned how to lead with the same respect. They've learned how to hold both the mission and the margin. without you having to constantly remind them. That's when you know business doesn't need you to run. But it still reflects everything that you stand for. So here we are. Let's land it here. You've done the deep work. You've clarified the rhythms. You've reclaimed your time. You've redefined what it means to lead. And you built the systems that actually breathe. You've developed people, not just performers, but real, authentic leaders. And you've created a culture that carries weight with grace, with rhythm, and with direction. So what's next? Now you carry it forward. Not with force, not with more hours. Please, not with more hours. Not by being everywhere at once. You move forward with design, with patterns that repeat, with trust that holds, with clarity that cascades into more clarity, with leadership that lasts. You don't grow your business by growing your to-do list. You grow it by growing people who lead well without you. That's what this step is for. That's what empowerment design is all about. That's how we extend the ripple. That's what you were always meant to do. Okay, so you've now got the full playbook for empowerment design. All 10 steps, every principle, everything you need to start building a business that works for you, not the other way around. Now, if you've been following this series and you're feeling that spark, that yes, this is what I've been looking for, you're not alone. This isn't just about scaling revenue, growing your team, or getting your systems right. All those things will happen. It's really about creating a business that gives you back your life, your freedom, your creativity. That's exactly why I built the Leaders Evolution membership. Everything we've covered here, it's just the surface of what's inside LE, the full step-by-step system to bring empowerment design to life in your business. If you're ready to stop surviving and start building with intention, go to leadersevolutionmembership.com, and we would love to help you take the next step. Remember, this is bigger than your business. This is about the ripple effect that you're creating every single day in your team, your family, your community, and in yourself. So it's time. Let's build something remarkable together.